Hello my dear friends and family, I'm Operator Starsky with the most recent updates on the ongoing and illegal Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Situation on the front lines, Russian electronic warfare used against European officials, recent assassination of a Ukrainian public figure in Lviv, and other updates. This is the Frontline Focus. Let's roll. Let's start with the occupied Donetsk Oblast, where a worsening water crisis has been reported. The occupation administration has failed to restore safe water, leaving Ukrainian families on the occupied territories waiting in long lines for contaminated water. After occupying Donetsk, the terrorist federation basically left the infrastructure to rot, completely neglecting the needs of the citizens. Some residents have even appealed directly to the internationally wanted war criminal Putin through the social media, but of course we all understand that he doesn't care. Fact is, instead of supplying those he called Russian people of Donbas with basic needs like running water, Putin supplies them with brainwashing. According to the Russian media, a new education program is being introduced in kindergartens across occupied Donetsk, Luhansk and Zaporizhia. It's meant to instill pro-Russian values in kids as young as 3. On the military front, between the night of August 27 to 28, Russia unleashed one of its largest air campaigns since the failed Alaska summit. Over 600 drones and missiles were launched from Shaheds to Kinzhal and Iskander systems, targeting Kyiv and damaging civilian infrastructure, including European and British diplomatic buildings. The Russian strike took lives of at least 21 civilians, including children. Kyiv authorities reported buildings in Donetsk district were hit, and both the EU mission and British Council buildings were severely damaged. Ukrainian defenders responded with strikes on key Russian fuel infrastructure, hitting oil refineries in Samara and Krasnodarsk Krai. By August 29, it became clear that Russia basically used the Alaska summit delay to prepare for a potential offensive in October or November. At the same time, President Zelensky announced Ukraine's readiness to peace talks, even at the head of state level. But again, we all understand that it's something Russians will never agree to because they didn't start the war for peace. On 30th of August, Kremlin staged a very interesting disinformation campaign claiming vast territorial gains in Ukraine. 3,500 square kilometers and nearly 150 settlements were reportedly captured since March. However, independent analysts estimated that actual Russian gains were around 2,300 square kilometers and about 130 settlements. Again, it took Russians 5 months. However, it would only take them just 2 days to capture the same area only 3 years ago. And while 2,300 square kilometers of captured territory sounds like a lot, the front line itself is as big as 1,200 kilometers. So basically you understand the picture. And the picture is that it took Russians half a year to barely move forward. And the whole territory of Ukraine is bigger than 500,000 square kilometers, which is basically enough for Putin to bury the future of his country. Russia also continues heavy drone and missile campaigns, this time launching over 500 between August 29 and 30, targeting homes across multiple oblasts. Ukrainian defenders shot down most of them and hit back, striking refineries in Syzran and Krasnodar and sparking fires and explosions. Also in Tula Oblast, Ukrainian forces reportedly hit a Russian explosives warehouse, continuing pressure on Moscow's supply chains. On the final day of August, desperate Kremlin messaging ramped up even more, aiming to sow doubt among Western supporters. Russian terrorists accused Europe of prolonging the war and even issued new nuclear threats against European leaders. Internally, Russian military losses continue mounting. From January through August 2025, Russian Federation reportedly suffered 290,000 military casualties, averaging over 36,000 each month. Still, despite enormous losses, the Russian territorial gains remain painfully slow. And I've heard that some people on the West admire Russian army. Basically, you can use this information to check the IQ of your friends. Also, you can pretty much calculate how long it takes before we celebrate another million of Russian invaders becoming better. On the battlefield itself, minor advances were reported this week. Ukrainian forces progressed near Novopavlivka and Russian terrorists advanced around Donetsk, but overall, gains and losses were absolutely marginal, as we could see happening since 2023. On top of that, in one particular case, Russian drones have been spotted flying over eastern Germany, likely gathering intel on Western military supply routes into Ukraine. Domestically in Ukraine, a high-profile assassination took place in Lviv. Former parliament speaker Andriy Parubiy was shot by an armed man disguised in a delivery uniform. Interior Minister Igor Klimenko revealed that authorities tracked down and detained suspect in Khmelnytsky Oblast just within 36 hours of the crime. Also, Ukraine's National Police Chief Ivan Vyhivsky flagged that the crime had a Russian fingerprint, which is a no-brainer considering massive number of attempted assassinations organized by FSB that were already investigated in Ukraine over the past 3 years. So why exactly have Russians targeted Andriy Parubiy? Many Ukrainian leaders see this assassination as part of Russia's so-called decapitation strategy that is aimed at silencing prominent pro-Ukrainian voices. Andriy Parubiy was known as a defender of Ukrainian identity and language, and he was hated by Kremlin precisely because he supported de-Russification of Ukraine and European integration. However, the Russian terror keeps expanding across Europe. Yesterday, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen faced an unprecedented challenge in the sky when her aircraft lost the GPS and navigation systems on approach to Plovdiv in Bulgaria. The European Commission and local authorities confirmed that it looked like deliberate jamming of the GPS signal, which is again something that Russia is known for. To me personally, it looks like another failed attempt of assassination of a top European official, and most probably some low-profile Russian officer will soon take a sip of some very specific Russian tea. And to finish this episode on something more positive, let me share a footage of a Ukrainian flamingo being launched into a beautiful sunset, bringing those Russians who were dreaming about the war exactly what they anticipated. With that, my dear friends and family, I wish you all a beautiful day. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed about the most important updates and share this content to help Ukraine be heard. I'll see you in the comments. I'm Operator Starsky. As always, be safe.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.